Hello, hello, and I'm here with Rachel. And Rachel, who are you? What do you do?
I'm Rachel Payne. I'm a scout with JAG Models based out of New York.
Yes, yes, yes,
Looking for new faces all the time.
yes. Always new faces, a really good agent, and really you always take such a good care of your models. And I'm really curious because I get so many questions about the girls saying where to start and how do agencies get to know me, or how do I stand out? What kind of advice would you give those aspiring models?
For new faces, for trying to be discovered, is what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those girls, I would just say have someone, if you can, a friend or family member, just take some nice simple images of you, just to have really natural to show who you are. But also, just do some research for some agencies, maybe local to you, or just reach and out, maybe out of state or something. Find some agencies that you could reach out to, submit those photos to. Confidence is really big, even if you can't even if you can't speak at the time. Just showing yourself confidently in your photos, not overthinking it, just showing some nice photos of yourself.
Yeah. And what does JAG actually represent? What kind of models?
We represent all sizes. All kinds of people. We have some really amazing people on our roster, and we're constantly growing. I don't like to put, when I'm scouting, I don't like to put anyone in a box. And I'm never looking for anything specific. So when I'm scouting, I'm just looking for something that draws my attention, someone that draws my attention. And then I go from there. And and as some of my girls that I've scouted from Instagram could tell you, once I find them, it's just kind of an interview process to get to know them, who you are. As Gary always says, what's your why? What's your why? What makes you want to do? What makes you want to do this? What makes you want to? What makes you interested in modeling? And do you have something more than that? So we have girls that are, have really big hearts and work very hard, and it can be a tough career path, and there's a lot of work you do on your own time to really get going.
Yeah. What are the you were talking about the tough parts. What are the tough parts then?
The tough parts are the no's, hearing no, no, no. And there's some girls that I've met that I never signed initially, that I ended up signing later. Nay's one of them. I love her pieces. She works super hard. She's a great girl. There are, and then the castings, and getting prepared for the castings, and I think you oftentimes will hear no more than you hear yes, but it's just, and I think that's hard for anybody, even your agents. I think that's hard to hear no when you were like seeing a girl up for this big job and you thought it looked promising, and then it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That's a hard part. And so one thing that people don't talk about very often, I think, is the support behind you. People don't always talk about not having family support or friend support behind them. That's really tough. So I think that I try to really get to know the girls and my models in general really well, just so they know that I'm here to support them through the things that are going to be tough, because I've lived it with girls and different models so many times.
Yeah.
And it's not often that, I would say maybe 60-40. Now parents and family or close friends are supportive.
Yeah.
To people, but you find out who your friends are when you're working in an industry like this. But if it's something that you really want to do, staying motivated and not letting those outliers bother you, and just staying focused and listening to the people that are helping build your career, not the people who may be jealous of you.
Yeah, yeah, that's a very good thing. And also, what would girls do if they are still in school? Do you see that they can combine those two things, or is it?
I think what the goal is to get out of it what you put into it,
Yeah,
what you're able to put into your career. So I would say it really depends. We've had girls that have been going to medical school that just let us know, hey, I've got 2 days here, and we'll see what we can do. It just depends. So, and it depends on where you're at in your life. It's like, are you taking one course every time you're taking classes? Are you just doing it to stay busy, to have something else to do? It just depends on where somebody's at. If they're totally full-time school, it can be difficult, and you just have to be honest with yourself about where your priorities lie at that time, and honest to your agents. I think you're like, look, this is where my priorities really lie, and I'm happy for someone if they want to better their education. That's really good, but that person, the model, also has to be realistic about what their expectations are. If they're not able to able to give and put back what we need.
yeah, that's true.
We are always being realistic about it. That's why I constantly ask,
Yeah,
where's that? What's your availability looking like? And things like that.
yeah. And what if they live in a smaller town?
Um, Again, based on availability. I don't, where, because of technology, I don't think that it necessarily matters where you are.
Yeah,
If you have a digital camera or phone or iPhone or any other smartphone, I I can work with you. It doesn't matter at all. And it's a good way to get to know someone. I do work with a lot of young models, so it's like learning how to communicate for yourself and your business,
yeah,
to be a partner with the agency. So, and I try to teach them like how to do it yourself when you're at home, because a lot of time models, and thank goodness for technology, like right now, a lot of times models, like if they need to show video or digitals or something really quickly last minute, I want them to have the tools to be able to do that from their hotel room if they're traveling, or from home with their mom.
yeah.
Because it's much simpler. I think a lot of times people think it's much more difficult than it is. Like, look, you might not have professional quality photos, but that's okay. We just want really natural, simple photos that show accurately who you are.
Who you are. That's so true. And also, I get a lot of questions like, I'm 21, I'm way too old to start modeling. So what about age?
Unfortunately, ageism has been a huge thing in the industry for a really long time. It's sad to see, but I think it's changing. We've seen a lot of campaigns and stuff with, a lot of different people, different ages, and it's pretty exciting. I hope to see that more and more. For someone to say they're 21, they think they're too old. That makes me so sad, because they do have time.
You have a lot of time. That's so
Yeah.
true. And
But it's interesting to think when they're thinking that, because I'm curious to know where they get that message a lot of the time.
I think because some agencies will put on like, we only accept submissions till 24,
Yeah.
that they think like, oh, but then I only have 3 years or 2 years.
I guess you're right. That's true. And I think, it's like sending out a resume for some specific job. Like, you might not meet all the qualifications that they have, the specs for that specific job. But if you really want that job, is that really going to deter you from submitting? Is that really going to deter you from, at least trying and
Yeah.
doing your best?
So
Uh, if you don't, just because you don't check off every little box, doesn't, diminish your value. I think it's about looking for someone or an agency or someone who believes in you just as much as you believe in yourself.
yeah. So, believing in yourself.
Yeah.
It's hard, but it's the most important thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think sometimes a lot of times people give a lot of credit they forget to credit people for what you've done. Thinking like Instagram, you know, when you post a picture, like credit everyone that was involved in that, because that didn't happen on its own.
Mhm.
Or, you know, like you went out and did something, like, you know, thanking someone else, like thank yourself, like you did that, you know, there,
Yeah.
or your agents or your parents, like, you know, we forget to credit it. You know, a lot of times, sometimes I think it's easy to think about me, like, hey, I need to eat or whatever. But I think sometimes we forget to be like, oh, hey, you did a good job. Like, you did a good job. You did that. So
That's so true. Well, talking about Instagram and social media, nowadays, of course, a lot of agencies are on Instagram. What kind of advice for models who maybe have 70 followers and think they are not out there enough? What kind of advice would you give them to get scouted? Is it the hashtags or?
I've found girls that, no, it's not. You know, I think I constantly get asked that question about Instagram. And there's a few of my everyone started out with one Instagram follower, and then 5, and then 70. Not everyone gets to, you know, 4 or 5 million, 50 million.
Yeah.
And it's like, does everyone need to have that? I don't think so. I just think it's important to be, if you're realistic and true to yourself and whatever platform you want to have on social media, if it's a platform at all. Some people like to have a platform and be able to use their voice, and I think that's amazing. But listen, not everyone might have that or want that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, with having that very large platform or amount of followers, people have expectations of you at some point, and not everybody maybe is ready for that or knows how to interact with that. So that's interesting. But it's, you know, some people who didn't realize they were going to have that kind of impact then do, and find it really gratifying too. So that's cool. But
Yeah.
I found models on Instagram that just had a tiny following, a few hundred people, maybe no hashtags, or concert hashtags or festival hashtags that I've come across, or people who mutual followers from like the search page on Instagram, or like TikTok. I'm just scrolling on TikTok watching cat videos, and then this beautiful person pops up on my screen. Of course I'm going to check it out.
Yeah,
So, you know, scouting can be really fun too.
that's true. And but is there something they can actually do to stand out?
I mean, you can use the hashtags. Like if there's a specific agency that you like, I mean, you can always use simple ones like modeling hashtags or Scout Me, or there's a lot of different hashtags that people use. I don't, I use hashtags sometimes, but I'm constantly in some kind of a wormhole on Instagram. But I would just say no filters, please. Like nobody needs a filter. If you're going to be a model, it's not, you don't need a filter. Models are beautiful. People are beautiful. You don't need these filters.
Yeah.
I actually, you know, they're fun every once in a while, and they're silly and they're fun to play with, but it shouldn't be a big depiction of you, you know. And there's times when I've had, you know, girls submit to me, and they've submit me all these Instagram photos. I'm like, and they look like a puppy, and I'm like, this is weird. But I was like, but I think I see something there. And then the more and more I dig, and the more I get, and I'm like, why was she using these? She's absolutely beautiful. She never even need makeup.
Yeah.
So I think people think less is more. I'll just say
Yeah.
that. Sometimes people think they need way more than they really do.
Yeah.
But we're all our biggest critics sometimes, I think. So, you know, if you're thinking that you need more, or need makeup, or you don't need the eyelashes, you don't need all the makeup, you don't need the, you know, crazy hair. But I also think you should be yourself. So if like some kind of crazy makeup or crazy hair is really like your identity, then I do want to see that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, who am I to say? Who am I to tell you what your identity is? I want to know
Yeah.
who you are.
That's true. That's true. And oh, so many questions. But what kind of changes has you seen throughout the years?
I guess I'm a baby in the industry, I guess. Still, it's been 5.5 years I've been working with JAG. And I'm super thankful. I learned from some really amazing people on my team. JAG stands for Jacqueline and Gary, and they started JAG in July of 2014, and I was, or 2013, I'm sorry, I came along in October of 2014. So that's about when I moved to New York too. So I've gotten to learn and grow from them, and I've been so appreciative. And then of course Adam, who's also owner of JAG, and one of my very best friends, and I appreciate him so much. I've gotten to learn, so they are key to our, they're the heartbeat, I guess, of JAG. And I've learned a ton from them, and all have together, all with their powers combined, they're Captain Planet, I'd say. And then, you know, I came along, got to work with them, and it's been awesome. Like I think one of the important things that I learned from them is to, like Gary says this often, it's like he loves to say no. You know, it's gotta be right, and it's okay to say no for yourself, or it's okay to look out for yourself. You know, sometimes we're just so sure it's right to be people pleasing, I guess.
Yeah.
But just seeing that, and I guess this is maybe more like personal changes, I guess. But I didn't come from a fashion background at all. I came from a gym background. I managed gyms for like 7.5 years. So part of my job was able to translate that. So when I first started, I kind of didn't know what I was doing, but I was just fascinated by the industry and like what they're doing and seeing all those changes. When I first started, was in Instagram was really, you know, starting to become like a bunch of influencers were really starting to become, and it seems funny to say it was only like 5.5, 6 years ago. Seems like it's been forever. And we're seeing that more and more and more, and that changing. And I just kind of became obsessed with Instagram and seeing how kids were talking about themselves on Instagram, and seeing how social media has played such a bigger role in the industry. You know, before, you know, now you can't, well, it's like fashion shows. People are, so if you're watching a fashion show, people are instantly sharing the images. And before, you know, this would be something that you wait for, and it's like a treat. But yeah, it's like instant gratification for those things. Or your, you know, the e-com stuff that you can just pop out really quickly, and it's just rotating really fast. Also the, you know, people who, there's an image of what a model is supposed to be, the specific height, the specific hip, all these specific things. And, you know, when I first started, I didn't know. I just kept asking, well, you know, what's this mean? What's traditional? I just want to know more and more. And I just think I come from a very non-traditional fashion mindset, and I just want to find beautiful people who, like when I see someone or talk to someone, and I want to think about why they caught my attention, how they can catch someone else's attention, how they make you feel, not from how they're speaking, but how they're photographing, or their expressions. Like, you know, people ask me like, oh, what do you think, what are you looking for when you see a model? The thing is, I'm always looking, but I'm not looking for something specific. I'm just looking for this like aura. I mean, you've met a million models. Like, you've seen those girls that are stars, or those girls that are, you know, doing really well in the industry. You've met them, and you know what I'm talking about. It's just like, wow, you really, and sometimes that doesn't just happen overnight.
No.
But at all, you can see just the growth and evolution of someone, and it's just finding the confidence and becoming, you know, some people I hear some people like, oh yeah, but she's a model, it's easy. That is so crazy. That is so wrong. You know, the amount of blood, sweat, and tears that models, male, female, non-binary, put into their work is very difficult. It's all about who you are. It's all about what you look like. It's all about what you're doing. And that's a big, those are big shoes to fill. But it's fun. There's a lot of really rewarding things for it too.
What was the most exciting thing in your career that you saw or did?
That's hard. There's so many cool things. I mean, one of my seeing Saint Abu say in Vogue, a girl I had scouted on Instagram. She was with another agency. She ended up walking Victoria's Secret runway. I think that was the last show that they did live. And I think I cried actually when I found out. She was a curvier girl too, and first curvy girl to rock the runways, and that was I cried. I was so happy to see that happen. And it was such a big dream of hers. I think for me, getting to know people and hearing what their dreams are and then seeing them happen, like it's like I feel like I'm in their shoes. Like I feel like their mom at that time. Like I feel like, obviously you want, just like a mom, you have your children, you want their dreams to come true. Like I want that for them too. I'm like, what do you want to do? What kind of things do you see yourself in? And then hitting some of those barriers, and then seeing how much further you can go with those.
Yeah, and see them grow in front of your face. It's amazing. But what was that question that I wanted to add? Oh yeah, is it different for curvy models? And how so?
Yeah, I would say so. One thing I think, if you're a model, to me you're a model. I don't like the separation of that. I think ultimately the separation for me is development. So this girl's development, this one is more seasoned model. I really think that's the only separation. That's what we do on our board. If you look at our website at jagmodels.com, we have the new faces, and then models who've been working for a while. That's time. That's really what I separate them from. Unfortunately, with some curve models, they've experienced some discomfort on shoots because maybe they're the only curve girl for that shoot, and that feels uncomfortable. But that's not to say that girls who are traditional straight size models haven't experienced some terrible things on set too. But I think that it can be hard when you're on a group set and you're only curve model, and some of the girls have been told, oh no, we don't need you for this shot, but everyone else from the cast is shooting. So for me to even hear that makes me sad, because listen, that's the whole cast that should be shot that way. But I do think that things are changing, getting better. But these girls, if you're a curve or not curve, everyone's working just as hard, and we're seeing more and more casting and changes for the curve industry. Gary's been a fighter for this industry for a long time. And it's cool to see him, to see all the changes and hear about the changes that he's seen over the years.
Now even Chanel and Fendi, two curvy girls.
Yeah, it's awesome. So
yeah, I think so too. And how about petite models? What would you say to them? Is there also a market, or do you have girls who are smaller than 5'8"?
Yeah, I've got the girls, maybe the shortest girl on my roster is 5'5". Lainey, she's absolutely beautiful. She's done some cool stuff. She's done some really beautiful editorials. And I have a couple girls who are about 5'6". They're also doing amazing editorials. One of our girls, she's 5'6.5", I believe. She flew in like 5 countries in just a couple weeks, working and doing a bunch of stuff. So, one thing that I think is find out what you want to do, find out what you want to do, and then find a team that wants to work with you. And when you walk into a room, whether you're 4 feet tall or 7 feet tall, walk into the room like you're 7 feet tall. Kate Moss is like, 5'7", so she walks into a room, she's in the room. There's just that aura, that part of you. And I think if you're really able to find yourself, I really don't think that is a huge issue. People talk about, their face defying the height. I think I really want to get out of the mindset of that height, because I'm just looking for a face. I can't, what's funny, this has made me think of it. There's girls that I have reached out to on Instagram that some of the first things they say to me about when they get back to me is, I'm only 5'5", but I walk in a room like I'm 5'8", and I think that bothers me
Mm-hmm.
because one of the biggest things is, that there's some reason why they already have that mindset, and it's already making me think like, about about how they think about themselves.
Yeah.
I don't, I would never say that. I mean, me myself, I'm only 5'5", probably average height. But when someone says that to me, I kind of feel like they aren't sure enough about themselves yet. It bothers me when someone says that, or lying to me about measurements and stuff. Like, I really want, the person that I'm looking for, I want them to be confident whether they're a 36 hip or a 56 hip.
Yeah.
I don't care. As long as you are confident, confident, beautiful person inside and out. That's really all I'm worried about. I don't want to work with someone who's really unmanageable or doesn't believe in themselves, and they're just waiting for me to believe in them. But I think height has a big stigma about it, and I think that can change, because there's proof.
Yeah.
You have to show the responsibility of a scout. I think is a big responsibility. We're responsible for finding up and coming amazing new faces,
Mm-hmm.
amazing new models. And if we're only putting ourselves in a small box where I can only look for girls between 5'9" and 5'11", only with this color hair, only with this size hip, then I'm not doing my job.
No.
Not doing my job. But I don't want to knock someone who that's how they everyone has their own process. Like, I have a weird process that I do a lot of talking. I don't think of somebody like a number. If you are Sarah Beth, you are Sarah Beth to me, or whatever, SB, whatever you want to be called. I think it's important to make the relationship of the agent and the agency personal.
Yeah. No, for sure.
The more comfortable you are in yourself and the team that's working around you, the
Yeah.
more confident you can be.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, and actually a question that not a lot of people talk about, but if okay, now you got scouted, and then you got to sign with the agency, but what are the things that they have to keep in mind while signing a contract?
Make sure while signing your contract, make sure you read it.
Yeah.
I think it's important. I think when it does bother me when someone signs a contract and never reads it. I try to give a little gist about everything, but I also think that's important just to read it so you know.
Yeah.
And then when you sign that contract, if there is a process. Let's say after you sign that contract, ask questions. It's okay to ask questions. As part of signing that contract is becoming, business person, not your own. You're your own business. You should get to know these things, I think.
Yeah.
Then let's say after you sign the contract, I think it's important to. Am I breaking up?
No, I still hear you.
Okay. And then after you sign the contract, it's crazy to expect things to happen right now.
Yeah.
There's a process with that. So, you got to build your book. Your digitals have to be good. That's, people don't think about, like, okay, great, I'm ready to model. You need to do test shoots. You have to be prepared for the test shoots, maybe some grooming, hair and stuff, so you're ready. So, if you're going to spend the money on those test shoots and stuff, you want to look your absolute best.
Yeah.
And it just depends, that's a process too. And I guess it really depends on the agency about how you're going to look and what you're going to do.
Yeah.
People forget that, like, digitals, when girls first get started, or models in general just first get started with digitals, a lot of people are like very stiff or uncomfortable, and that takes time. That takes a lot of time, and I never like to just throw a model into it. I think those things, like, and you do that, you work with the girls with that, like, I know with digitals and walking and how to be in front of the camera, because it's all fun and games until you're like, oh wow, I really have to do this, or I really have to work on set for like 12 hours.
Yeah.
So, and you just have to know that's something that you can do. So it patience, practice patience, or you'll become one, they say.
So true. Yes. Practice patience, confidence.
Yeah.
And yeah, the other question that I get a lot is, well, now it's really hard to just walk into an agency, but is it okay to direct message you or the agency, or?
Direct messages are fine. I always think it's best to just submit. I find it much more confident when a model submits to the submission forum.
Yeah.
Because I know that they've looked at the website.
Yeah.
You know, that I know that they've physically, so we have like and usually on every agency website, there will be like a submission forum or wannabe models. It just, depending on where you're at, just depends on what it says. I find it, I'm like, okay, now I know that this person has looked at our website, maybe seen some of the faces and maybe felt reflected in there, in our website when they look at that. So I personally find that, awesome. I do have some people that submit on Instagram a lot. There's like some reoccurring faces we see a lot. I love the confidence and willingness to reach out, but I think there is a point when it starts to get annoying or maybe even desperate. And if you're not getting responses from being really aggressive, then you probably should rethink your tactics.
Yeah, the redirection.
Yeah, and it's I mean I like the excitement about it, but it's, if you're very intense, it could be a deterrent for someone wanting to work with you, because and in my experience, unfortunately, sometimes those people have been unmanageable.
Yeah, so there's a balance. And and how long does it normally take an agency to get back to you if you submit the form online?
It depends. It depends on the agency, I think, and it depends on the scout, what kind of load they have. When I'm in my busier season, like traveling a lot, sometimes it will take more time, because like I don't want to just respond to someone just to respond. I want to have the time to sit down and really think about the decision. When you're signed with an agency, it's usually a commitment for 3 years. I want to make sure that I'm up for that 3-year commitment with you, for you, to walk you down that road, and really make sure that you are, that the model is, because in my experience, there's been some people who are like, they just weren't ready yet, or that person is like, wait, I really don't like this. I've had that happen. I've had some models say they want to be a model like their whole life, and then once they started, they were like, wait, I don't like this.
I don't like.
I appreciate honesty like that.
Yeah.
I think that's really, really important, just being honest with yourself. Or at the time, there's like, wait, this actually, modeling isn't my priority right now. Like, myself is my priority right now, and that stuff I appreciate too. Is being honest with yourself. And I've had a girl come back from a situation like that, and just you could tell it's just the change.
Yeah.
It could be the thoughts of want and need. It's like, yes, you may want some things, but what do you need right now? Water, you need sleep, you need food. But then there's those other things, like the wants, like modeling and like some of these certain jobs, those are all wants. And then, girls manifesting those things. But I think what that really means is just finding your true confidence.
Yeah.
People use that a lot. But don't forget, manifestation is great, but sometimes your agents worked really hard for that too.
Yeah. It's both ways.
Yeah.
Good. Do I have more? Well, we talked a little bit about also, or you were dropping it a little bit with some test shoots and paying. And sometimes I get a lot of questions about that with agencies who come up to them and they're saying, oh, now you have to pay to get on the websites. And I always say, don't do that. But how
Mhm.
does it normally works?
For when you first sign.
Yeah, or are there any costs? I mean, I know the answer, but it's always good to.
Well, for, we do have a web expense once a month. It's a small expense, but we don't, like, I'm not going to put anyone up until they're ready.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry. I got to grab the door. I'll be right back.
yeah, no worries.
Where were we at? We're about,
With the costs of models.
we really don't need to spend a bunch of money. Also with, so like with development girls or development models in general, there's a lot of student photographers that need help just like those models do. And they need to get learning and moving, and some of your friends just to get you ready. Like, I don't think I don't like to put a brand new face in front of a seasoned photographer, because a lot of times they're not ready. And
Yeah,
I want her to be ready and feel good and confident to work with anyone. So we do a ton of work just getting the girls in and out.
yeah.
Like right now I have a lot of my new faces. I just sent them some homework to do every Monday, end of days, if any of the girls are watching this later. But I think that a lot of the things are large expenses are completely avoidable.
Yeah,
But I do. And then, as you know, my new faces work with you to get them ready.
yeah,
Because I think that's super important. It's like, as me as a scout, like I'm not going to be able to give them the accuracy and the personal experience like that you have.
no, that's true. Yeah, yeah, the investment in development in that sense. But yeah, I think also that they have to remember not to pay anything to just getting signs, and that's a lot what's also going on now on Instagram and those things.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't think, and there's, I see those every once in a while, and I do get submissions sometimes of like, how much is it for me to join this agency?
yeah,
There's nothing to join.
no,
That's just weird.
no,
The only it's a working together.
yeah,
This teamwork to build. There's really nothing to spend because we're building something.
yeah, yeah.
But there, if you want great quality test images from a great photographer, then they're doing a job. They deserve to be paid their rate.
Yeah.
And just depending on what people's rates and availability and stuff are at that time, it just really depends. But we also have our in-house person that does art department, Anna. She's a beautiful photographer. She shoots all of our digitals. They're just absolutely incredible, and she does a lot of test shoots for our new faces and some of our developed models too. She's fabulous rate, fabulous person, and creates, I think, a good, comfortable environment too. I think it's important to learn how to work with different people as a new model. So, you're never going to know how many people are going to be on set. And we'll see more and more with how everything changes, what a set looks like now after COVID.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see. But yeah, just like that process of getting you ready to even be working with, getting the model ready to even be working with clients is really important to me. And I don't think it's about spending a ton of money, but I do think you should have, nice clothes. You're showing up to interviews virtually. You should look nice. You should look nice, but also, be yourself,
Yeah.
expression.
Yeah.
But yeah, it shouldn't cost you an arm and a leg to get started.
No, and also the ideal goal is to get you more jobs and
Right.
to be successful in what you do. Do you have any last advices? I mean, we can talk for hours, but
To do it in person.
But do you have any last words for, well, maybe both, aspiring models who want to get started and models who are already in the industry?
Yeah, I think if you're getting started, as long as you believe in yourself, why not try, no matter what age you are?
Mm-hmm.
Let's be realistic. And the confidence thing that we talked about, you have to find your confidence. If you're finding yourself being really just not being confident at all, think about why are you not, what's making you so unconfident, what's making you so uncomfortable? Is it the people you're surrounding yourself with? And we obviously have a lot of time to reflect on that right now. Is it the people you're following on social media? Is it the people you're letting talk to you? What is that? What's your why? What makes you want to do these kind of things? Just kind of pinpoint those so you can really see, what you want to do. Practice, 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 practice. If you're looking at some of your images and some of those things and you're not confident with them, then keep practicing. I think that could help you tremendously. So don't just submit just to submit, just to see. I get that a lot, and they're like, "Oh, I never thought you'd actually get back to me." What do you want?
Yeah.
And that makes me sad too. But that's a confidence issue. So if you want to submit, you got to be you should be available, or at least be honest about your expectations for availability. And you just prepare yourself, listen, ask questions, if you don't understand, let me know. And there's tons of resources, like Mandy, you offer tons of free resources on your on your website all the time, and on your Instagram. Like, you have a really good network. The girls love you. All my models, everyone's left any of your workshops or love you and talk about you all the time. And I think for models who've been in the industry and been developed, be a mentor to some of the new faces. They really look up to you. I love when there's a girl that, I scouted maybe 4 years ago, and then this new face I signed comes in and talking about how obsessed she is, and she's her idol, or she looks up. That means so much to me. And a lot of the time, I don't think that some developed models know that, but just know that happens a lot. And I think it's really cool. And just for them, that model, let's say in 3 or 4 years time, their career is from just getting started to where they are now. And that doesn't happen all the time. Some people take a lot longer to mature, but that's something that you really want. Stay in the course, stay confident in doing the work. Sometimes it just takes time. And if it's something you really want to do, patience is just important. And I think for developed girls, don't forget to test. Don't forget to test. Test shoots, those are important. And it's tough sometimes when you're a developed model and you've been working a lot and you're just like, oh, it feels kind of tedious. But that's when you get to do something just for you. And build your book and show off a little bit. Actually, show off a lot. You're like, hey, I've been doing this for this many years. But I do see, a lot of time we're not seeing, some of the girls have been doing this for a long time. They forget that beginning of testing. That, look, you don't need to test a lot like you were when you were first getting started, but when you're at that development point, you should always be thinking about developing and growing. If you want more clients or different clients, you should probably test. You should probably or show something. And I think it's just fun and cool and to show something different. Our clients, if they're used to seeing the same images, let's think about it like this. When you're reading a book and it's like maybe not your jam, and it's just like you read the same page like 5 times and you're like, okay, wait, I'm done reading this book today. I think that can be similar with the casting directors looking at portfolios sometimes. Keep it updated, keep it fresh, put some new stuff in there. Maybe some cool stuff you've done from work, but really they're images just kind of show like the lifespan of your stuff. And if you've got test images that are 5 years old, that's not really accurately depicting who you are. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something that sometimes forget. But also I get it too, because if you're busy, sometimes you just like, you don't want to spend that 4 or so hours to do a test and then the clothes and all that stuff. You want to rest.
Yeah.
But the few hours it takes and the amount of money, I think is always, it always pays for itself.
Yeah, and the results. What do you have to put in your portfolio?
What should you put in your portfolio?
Ah,
I think when you're first getting started, let's be realistic. You don't have anything to show other than you. I think the first bit of images should be really simple. And think about, the book should tell a story. Your portfolio should tell a story. It shouldn't just be a bunch of photos. Um, it shouldn't be a bunch of random photos. All books can be done electronically now. All of our girls have an iPad. We have iPads at the office. Girls can check out if they don't have one or are missing one, whatever, forgot it last minute, but you should show a little bit of everything. If you're comfortable shooting lingerie or swim or body, not everybody is. I think that's something to be upfront about with your agency too. I don't want anyone to be uncomfortable with anything they're doing. So if we put someone up for a job that's a swim job or maybe partial nudity, I ask all my girls, if that's something that they're comfortable with, even if that comes about and we always like, hey, is this something that you're comfortable with? Because I never want someone to be surprised. So if you're comfortable sharing, what your figure looks like in your book, I think that's great. Just fun stuff, some personality stuff to show what you're doing. But I like to be able to shoot someone and get their character. I like their book to be able to tell their character, or their book to be able to show different characters, because modeling is about, becoming another character. It's like acting.
yeah, different parts.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at like Crystal Wren's book, she's amazing. If you go to our website, like you could see all the amazing characters she's become for whatever she's doing. And she's, and 100% invested in that shoot that she's doing.
Yeah,
She really shows up.
true. And also in the markets, is it very different? How is New York different from other markets?
New York is tough. There's a lot of girls that live here. We might have sometimes we have castings that are like, it might be, let's say right now it's 2:00. We get an email, hey, we need people for this casting. And the casting's at 2:45. We call everybody up as quick as we can to get them that casting at 2:45.
Yeah.
And I think there's really a little bit of everything that's shot here. And there's castings you'll go to that are cattle call castings that are a ton of girls, a ton of people at those castings getting ready to go. And listen, it's easy for a model to walk in there at a casting like that and get stuck in her head, or let someone else get stuck in their head. And listen, I think people should be friendly or cordial all the time. It's not always going to happen, but some of those people are there to maybe get in your head sometimes, because they're there to get that job. You should be there to get that job too, but it shouldn't make you become a different person. You walk in there, when you come in to see those casting directors, you are there to see those casting directors. If you're in a line of 45 people and the 50th person comes up and asks all of you if they can cut, I really think, no, I came here. I've been waiting for half an hour. I would love to be able to do that for you, but I'm also here. You might have other castings to go to too. It's tough. But that's just how it happens sometimes. It's like, listen, sometimes you're going to have to be, and some people might take that as mean, but really you're looking out for yourself. I don't think it's mean to be like, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that for you. This is it. But if you really don't care, that's fine. You can be a nice person. It doesn't hurt.
No.
But just coming in, being confident. Don't let other people get in your head when you're at those castings, because it could throw everything off. And I know from images and stuff, or talking to the girls by voice and stuff, sometimes like, what's going on? I could see it. Something's going on in those pictures. You don't look quite yourself. And then they'll be like, oh, this is what it was. I was feeling like this. So it's easy to tell after getting to know someone, I think.
Good, nice. Good. I think I don't have any questions anymore. But you gave a lot of information, which is very, very helpful for models and aspiring models. And I also love your girls.
Thank you. Me too. I miss them, and I
Oh
like
my gosh,
me too. It's like it's weird. I don't like not being able to message you and be like, hey, can I get a group of new faces in?
I know.
Or it's weird. I can't wait to.
Yeah, and I remember you're saying, "Oh, give this girl a break" during the fashion week.
Yes, you. I was like, oh, can you do another one? I know you're probably exhausted.
Yeah, but this is now a really long break, so I'm ready as well. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
ready. I'm ready. But yes, we will come together, and I'm sure. And thank you again, Rachel. It's really been nice to talk to you. And
Having me, I was so excited. I was so excited when you asked me because I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm doing something, motivated. I was like, I'm going to put a nice shirt on.
yes, exactly.
Makeup. I haven't worn makeup in 2 months. It's a
You,
little fun for you.
yeah, you look great. You look great.
Thank you.
No, thank you so much.
All right.